Thank you for joining us for the special interview edition of WCMO NewsCenter 15. I'm Abby Scott. We'll start off our program with some big news about Marietta College broadcasting. WCMO FM is in the process of being reborn. WCMO NewsCenter 15's Zach Worstell sat down with the person behind it all, MC grad Tom Taggart.
I'm here with West Virginia Broadcasting Hall of Famer Tom Taggart. Today we're going to be talking about the recent changes to Marietta College's radio program and the media program. So to start off, I just wanted to ask you a little bit of your background of what you've done so far that makes you qualified to take charge of this project.
Hardly anything. No, I'm a 1971 graduate of the college. Back then, of course, we did have problems with those nasty little dinosaurs running around, but wasn't too bad. And after that, went to law school and got back into radio when I built a radio station in St. Mary's with another MC grad, Bob Eddy, back in 1983. So I've owned that station ever since and added 3 more stations to that on B96.9 in Parkersburg, licensed to Williamstown. We bought WVAM, which is 1450, used to be WPAR. It's the oldest station in Parkersburg, and we bought that in 2020. And then we put on a station up in New Martinsville, West Virginia, back in 2000, WXCR. And I've helped out here for a number of years with this studio project, for one, which, as you know, I put the carpet down and installed a lot of the equipment and so on. Same thing when we moved the WMRT studios from up on the top floor down here, and that was a couple of years ago. So I've been kept busy.
Yeah, you're kept busy. You're a little overly qualified. Focusing on your time at Marietta College, specifically, because you said that you graduated in 1971.
Mm-hmm.
Were you involved with the radio program when the radio program was here at Marietta College?
Oh yes. At that time, WCMO was in the basement of Andrews Hall, and you came up to the side and went down a little bit and in, and there was the radio station to the left and a TV studio to the right. And at that time, it was 10-watt transmitter sitting on a table and the tower beside the building, which had the antenna. And then I was also involved in the TV there. We had tube-type image orthicon cameras, massive things, and the big pedestals.
So the recent change of WCMO FM going to LP.
Yes.
Can you talk about the legal process of that with the FCC?
What the FCC does is open what they call a filing window. And usually you have a week to 10 days to get your application in. They announce it way ahead of time so you can have everything ready, all the I's crossed and T's dotted and so on. And that opened last year in December. I was exploring the possibility of increasing power on 98.5, but the station was too close to 99.1 to be able to do that. Plus, there's a engineering trick that might have allowed it, except the tower was too close to surrounding houses.
Right.
So you couldn't reduce the signal enough downward to increase power. So we moved down to 97.5 and applied for the low power channel. There's always a risk that somebody else would apply, but there weren't any more applications in this area. And so it came through. Been waiting all summer to get the tower climber to install the antenna. So next step is to actually get the higher power transmitter. I've got to get that down and installed, which shouldn't take long.
Can you explain the importance of, obviously you do more than just the Marietta College radio program, but you were once a student here.
Yes.
So you understand the importance of expanding and increasing the radio program, making it better for
Well,
students.
I'll tell you the biggest thing about the radio program that nobody will think about. I was kind of thrown in the studio, and I'm not a very public speaker or anything like that. But the record runs out. You know those flat things that are black plastics, they go tick, tick, tick when they run out. So you had to turn the mic on and talk. So I had to say something. So you kind of had to do something at the time. So after 4 years of that, I went to law school. And it was like a night law school that expanded into day classes. And you had a lot of police. They're taking law students. One student who came over from Case Western Reserve, and the first day of class, he had a little tube of oil, and he said, this is something I developed. I got a patent on it, but I want to go to law school because I'm going to need the law experience. He invented a kind of synthetic oil. So he's probably enjoying his yacht someplace in the Caribbean now.
Somewhere, not so much.
But, you had a variety of students like that who weren't the typical law school students who came out of drama and debate and everything else. Second year, we had what they called moot court. You had to argue a case before a panel of professors and defend your position and why they should go your way and everything else. Yeah. So I got up there and I did it. I was used to public speaking by then, having been in doing the radio and so on. Next thing you know, they called me up from the moot court club saying, you want to get into this summer? Everybody thought you were excellent. I didn't think it was that good, but it was the experience in radio. That's invaluable. And I think it's anybody, if you're going into accounting, if you're going into law, even if you're going into one of the STEM courses, as they call them now, because inevitably you're going to have to explain what this is you're working on to a grant committee in the college or to your boss where you're doing scientific research.
Submitting a patent for something.
Exactly. Or even if you go into medicine, being able to explain to patients, well, this is why we're doing this is why we're doing this, and this is why, and we need you to take this pill, and so on. So I think it's an invaluable experience just to get that experience of having to make an argument, having to be able to speak off the cuff, as I'm trying to do now.
Yeah, but that is all that we have. Thank you for joining me and giving us a look into your life and how you helped Marietta College.
Thanks, Zach. Marietta College is filled with interesting people who do amazing things. One student in particular is nationally known for something called clay shooting. WCMO NewsCenter 15's Evie Gravlin sat down with one of the best clay shooters in the nation, Marietta College's senior Kyleigh Kozel, to learn about the sport.
Hi, I'm Evie Gravlin, and I'm here with
Kyleigh Kozel.
And you know how everybody has interesting hobbies and interesting sports, so Kyleigh is going to explain to us what she does.
So I have been a competition sporting clay shooter since I was 10 years old. I just turned 22, so that's a lot of years, I'd say. That's over a decade. So sporting clays, there are 3 different disciplines: sporting clays, trap, and skeet. I do all 3. My main discipline is sporting clays because I like the challenge. I like the differentiating of the different stations, because trap and skeet, you're looking at the same targets, but with sporting clays, you have 17 or 16 different stations that have different targets, so you're seeing different presentations. So an overall little spiel of what sporting clays, skeet, and trap are: there are clay discs, usually orange, sometimes green, sometimes pink, and sometimes black. And they come out of a thrower, either automatic or manual, and you are given different displays of them. They could be facing in the front, they could be on the side, they could be up, they could be on the ground, called a rabbit. So there's very different presentations, and that's where the challenge comes in. And you can actually win a lot of money if you win top in your class, top in the entire world, top in your state, because it is a skill set, because it's a tiny disc and then you're shooting a shotgun that is throwing bullets out of there, and there's different choke tubes that spreads farther or closer together. It's a very intricate sport. It's not like, golf is intricate where you have to know, the angles and that.
Right.
They say sporting clays is golf with a shotgun. So,
Wow.
I've shot many different places in the United States and over in Italy. And
Whoa.
I actually, because I don't like to brag, but I was decent, so I was sponsored, and I got to go over to Italy.
Oh my gosh.
So I got to see different presentations over there, and it's different everywhere. It's different. I'm from Pennsylvania, so my main sporting clays place is called Seven Springs, which is also a ski resort, And people come from all over the world to different places like that. And it's really interesting to see different people and different perspectives on sporting clays.
So how did you get into this sport?
So when I was 10 years old, my brother had been doing it for a couple of years because my dad and him wanted something to do together. And we had a facility about 15 minutes from my house. And I said, well, that seems interesting. Little 10-year-old me is like, that seems cool. I'm very competitive. I want to beat everybody else. I wanted to do something different than a school sport. Like I was in dance, I was in basketball, soccer, softball. And I was like, what's one more? Let's add one more to the list. It's different. Nobody else does it. Little me want to be cool, per se. And so I started the kick of a shotgun. If it's not balanced right, if it's not fitted right, it will actually kick you pretty hard, and you'll have a bruise for a week or two. It'll be sore, but you'll build up. And my bone is different on this side than that side because I've been shooting so long. So, but that's because I hold my gun wrong. But it works for me.
Oh, perfect.
But I started shooting on a team. I was the only girl, so that gave me a little bit more competition. You know, I want to beat the boys.
Right. Yeah.
And in 2015, I won my first Pennsylvania State Championship in my division.
Ooh.
I was like, well, that's cool. I like that. So I was like, I want to go to nationals. Why not? Go down to San Antonio for nationals. I won my first national championship for my division.
Whew.
And after 2015, 5 years in a row, I was 5-time Pennsylvania State champion and 2-time national champion for sporting clays.
Dang, girl. Oh, my gosh.
And then I was like, okay, there's different disciplines. Trap. Trap's kind of boring because there's 5 different stations and you shoot targets going out instead of sporting clays all over.
Right.
With trap, 5 different stations, same thing. I was like, okay, that's boring, but I kind of want to win at that too. So I was like, all right, I didn't have a team near me, so I joined another school team. And they do conferences instead of divisions. So in my women's division, I won first place in the conference.
Oh my gosh, dang.
And then I did skeet too. It's like, it's different. That's a high house and a low house, and they come out and there's like 9 or 10 different stations. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I won first runner-up in that for individualism, and then my team won first place.
Wow.
And my senior year of high school, it was COVID, so I really couldn't do much. But shooting, you're all outside, and things were start to get lifted. And I found another school that I could do about an hour from me, and they recruited me, and I won first in my division there. So I was like, all right, let's round out my
Dang, and I'm
high
knocking
school.
them all out.
Yeah,
right
I
then
needed
and
to get all, it's like an EGOT. So I got like an EGOT for sporting clays and competition shooting. So I was like,
Wow.
Yeah.
So I know before we started rolling, you were talking about some schools that you could have went to instead of Marietta. So what kind of schools were people talking to you for?
So when I was at Nationals in Marengo, Ohio, actually, the recruiters come in because SCTP, which is Scholastic Clay Target Program, it's all, school to college. So recruiters come in from all different schools, and I had 3 offers, one from the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, University of Maryland, and a school in Oklahoma. And I'm a big Alabama fan. And I live about 10 and a half hours from Tuscaloosa, and that was really hard to make that transition from, I had graduated with 76 kids in my class, and I'd have about 40,000 on campus there.
Right.
And as much as I wanted to stay home. I didn't have any interest in Maryland or Oklahoma, but I was very, very grateful that I got the full ride offers. And because I love what I do and I love that sport, it was hard to let that go professionally in school to focus on being close to home and getting the actual education that I wanted close to home.
Right. So I guess that kind of goes into my next question. So why are you at Marietta College?
Well, my brother went here. He toured in 2014. And I said to him on campus, because I came with him, I said, if you don't go here, I will. And he went here. He graduated with a degree in petroleum engineering. And I still came here. And I said to myself when I was choosing schools, I don't want to be just a number. I want to be known by my professors. I want to be seen by my professors. And I want to have a connection that I'm here for my education. They want me to succeed. They want me to have a close-knit relationship with them because our classes are so small. And I think even though I couldn't have a shooting team here, even though I actually tried to start one here, even though I couldn't do that, I'm still able to, my academics always come first. And because I wanted a good academic relationship with myself, my professors, and my career, I thought the best choice for me, even though it was hard to let it go, I was able to get the degree that I want in, what, May?
Oh my gosh.
May.
I know, it's speeding up fast,
Yes,
too.
it is. Yeah.
All right, well, you've heard it here, folks. I just want to thank Kyleigh for
Thank you.
speaking with me, and I'm glad you guys are here listening, and I'll see you later.
Thanks, Evie. In Marietta sports, Marietta basketball not only has a new season, but a new coach. Here's WCMO NewsCenter 15's Isabelle Poling with a preview.
I'm here with Marietta College women's basketball head coach, Jenna Anderson. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
All right, you ready?
I am ready.
All right, so in the past 6 seasons, you were the assistant coach and recently promoted to the head coach.
Yes.
In addition, you are a Marietta College alum.
Yep.
How do you feel personally about leading a team you were once played on?
It's kind of surreal, like truly. If you would have told me my freshman year back in 2014 that I would one day be the head coach, I probably would have laughed at you and told you you were crazy. That year was a little tough for me as a player. Didn't play much at all. Freshman on the team, have to learn how things run. But just kind of stuck with it and, kept working throughout my 4 years. And, was able to have a pretty good career, personally and as a team. We just kept getting better each year. So just to have gone through everything as a player, all the, hardships and triumphs to, being able to come and lead the next generation of players through it is pretty special, and it's something that I'm really honored to have been selected for.
So are there any traditions or values that you want to teach the players?
I guess we have a little tradition. We have a saying in the program that is hold the rope. That's something that we've kind of done since I was a senior on the team. And so that's kind of something that we've carried over, just making sure that you can always trust, each other holding the rope. We always say if you're dangling by a cliff and you're just holding onto a rope, you got to be able to trust who's at the other end. So just instilling that trust in each other, and really bonding through that is something that we've kind of looked to carry over. And then just kind of the competitiveness of the team is something too that I want to kind of continue to build and uplift. Just having really competitive practices and games, and just constantly trying to make each other better.
So let's take a little recap of last year's season.
Okay.
Last season, you guys were ranked 3rd in the OAC preseason poll. That's pretty good.
Yep.
You guys had a solid overall record of 21-7, and you appeared in the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
What are your plans for this upcoming season regarding coaching philosophy, and how you implement this during practices and games?
Yeah. I had a really successful year last year again. That was our 3rd year making it to the NCAA tournament, which it's a program record, going 3 times in a row. Our first year that we did it was my senior year on the team, so that 2018 year. So that's something that's been awesome to be able to keep building on and continue to do each year. And then, just continue to implement coaching philosophy-wise. I think it's really important to let the players know that you care about them, and that way you can truly coach them, because each player needs to be coached a little bit different, just based on personality and things. So then making sure that you have that relationship with them that you can get through and get that coaching across them however you need to is something that I think. And then just never being, we always say we want to be positive, so finding the positive ways to coach too.
As I said before, you were previously an assistant coach, and most of the players already know you, besides the freshmen. How do you approach player development personally and athletically?
Yeah, player development's a huge part of our program. Like I said earlier, when I was a freshman, I wasn't playing much, but that's because I honestly at the time wasn't good enough. So developing athletically is huge for us. So going to kind of approach it the same way we always have since I've been on the staff. Just getting extra workouts in throughout the week when we're allowed to. And like I said just earlier, a big part of that is knowing how you can coach each individual player and forming that relationship with them. That way, like I said, they know you care about them, and they can kind of take the coaching as it goes. So athletically, just making sure we can get in there, get some workouts in, make them get a good sweat in, and always, improving their skill set. And then personally, just making sure that on a deeper level that, they're okay as a person, helping them try to grow as people throughout their 4 years too. Make sure they're doing well in school, maturing, and just, able to handle life once they graduate.
So in addition to you being an alum, the team also recently hired Jill Congrove, who was also a key player and also an alum.
Yep. How
does it feel to have her back in the old stomping grounds?
It's awesome to have Jill back. She has been awesome since she got right back on campus day one. She brings a wealth of knowledge back to the game, and as someone who was such a vital part of our program for 4 years, her effect on the culture is awesome. She's someone that always worked hard and did the right things, did the little things, and was a great leader. So having her back is a great help, and it's nice to have a fellow alum back there. Even though me and Jill never got to play together, we missed each other by a year. I was able to coach her for those 4 years she was here, and just definitely a great asset to add back to us. And she's already been awesome throughout our first 10 practices I think we've had now. So she's been great.
Here's a little fun fact.
Okay.
She previously coached at Bloom Carroll High School, and that was my high school.
That's where you went to high school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. She so it's not too far from where she grew up to, because she went to Logan Elm. So close neighbors.
All right. There are currently 4 coaches in total.
Yep.
That sounds like a solid coaching staff.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
So we are very lucky with having 3 full-time coaches on our staff. And in the OAC, other women's basketball programs aren't as fortunate as we are to have that. So it's great that we are able to have 3 people in the office day in and day out to help with, making sure that athletically we're getting better, like you said, with that development stuff. And then just having people that the players can come talk to when they need to, whether it's about school or life or basketball, that we have, a variety of ears that can listen. And then Coach Stalter is our volunteer assistant. He's been with the program for 16 years now, I think. So he's seen the ins and outs of this program from day one. So having him here as our constant is awesome to be able to, just have another ear, another set of eyes that are kind of seeing things differently. And I think just the 4 of us together, it's nice to have like a solid unit who we all know each other very well and we all get along well. So it's really nice.
Are there any key players that you would like to mention and that will make a great contribution to the season?
Yeah, I mean we have a good amount coming back from last year. We have Paige Tolson coming back, who was our first team all-conference selection last year, so she's set to make another really big season for us. Hannah Croft came back for her 5th year too, which is going to be huge for us. Just having that experience in the post position down low is going to be nice. And I mean, just everyone we bring back. I mean, I could go through and name every single one of them and tell you something good about all of them, but those are 2 big ones that we're looking for. And then everyone else is bringing the energy, bringing everything they learned from last year, and looking to get better and contribute. So that's all I can really ask for too.
All right. Well, good luck on your season, and thank you for doing the interview.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
In Marietta College football news, the team is having a terrific season. WCMO NewsCenter 15's Eric Thurman sat down with Marietta College standout and former player, now assistant coach, Bryce Agnew, to hear what he has to say about the team.
Yeah, so I'm here with Bryce Agnew. I got 5 questions for you about the upcoming season, this season actually. So what is the difference now than last year?
So I think the difference between now and last year is the maturity of the team. I think we have more people bought in. From last year, we returned a lot, lost some key players, but returned a bunch of people to where we're still out there and able to go do what we do.
How is it different from being a player and then now becoming a coach?
The biggest difference so far is like you're behind the scenes. You're putting in a whole bunch of hours. You're doing all the stuff that you really don't think that you're doing when you're a player. watching film a bunch, and yeah, that's probably the biggest thing, is putting all the hours in. And but honestly, that's what I love it. So love the game, then it's all the same to me.
What is the team like from when you was playing till now?
So each year, from my freshman year all the way to my 5th year, you could just tell the teams. And from freshman year, like, I went from not playing, but I seen like how the culture was, and then continue just year by year, the culture of each year got better and better. And just if you establish a culture, and then you got players like Kyleigh Worstell starting for 4 years, so he was a part of that culture switch, and he's able to continue and carry it on.
What does it mean to you coming back to be a coach, and why?
I was honored that they called me and offered me the job, because not too many people can just get a college coaching job, and so when they called, I was honored, and wouldn't rather do it a different place. I played here for 5 years, and now I'm gonna get out there and helping you guys do what you do.
What are the goals that you and the coaches talked about when you are coming into this season?
Some of the goals that we talked about was, first of all, win every week, go 1-0, and then we feel like we had the team to make the playoffs. And right now, as long as we go and continue to handle our business, we're on that pace right now. So just got to take week by week. Everybody, you can only win the game that you're playing that week. So handle the business 1 week at a time, and we'll get to our goals.
All right, thank you, Bryce.
Thanks, Eric. We all know Marietta College is filled with awesome departments and faculty, but there's a lot that happens behind the scenes to keep it that way. WCMO NewsCenter 15's Kyleigh Kozel sat down with Professor and Chair of the Department of Communication, Lori Smith, about what it is like to be a chair of a department at Marietta College.
I'm Kyleigh Kozel, and today I'm going to be interviewing Lori Smith, Professor and Chair of the Communication Department. And I'm going to be asking her some questions, what it is to be a day in the life of a communication professor while being the chair of the department. Could you give us a quick summary of what it means to be the chair of a department?
Well, as a chair, you are still a professor, you still teach, but you do get 1 course reduction, and that gives you some time to do some of the administrative duties. So you're not necessarily the boss of anybody within the department. We're a team, but it's just the administration part that I take care of. So I take care of things like the budget, I take care of things like scheduling, like all the classes that we teach, and right now students are getting ready to register for spring semester. All the classes, the times, who's teaching, all that kind of falls on me to get that taken care of. Anything like assessment, any projects that the department has to do, I kind of just am in charge of making sure that they happen. Yeah.
And I will see you in about 20 minutes again to schedule.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
How long have you been the chair of the communication department?
Well, that's a good question. I believe I'm on my 7th year. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been a little while. I'm losing count.
That means you're enjoying it.
I do.
I was going to ask, just a side note, what made you want to be the chair? Were you thrown into it? Did you ask for it?
I did not ask for it. Someone asked me to be chair.
Oh.
Okay. The communication and the media studies department at one time were separate, 2 separate departments.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so there was a chair for each one. And then we combined those 2 departments. And the first year we had 2 chairs. We just kind of had co-chairs. And then right after that, I became chair, and they asked me to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
And I had a little bit of management experience beforehand too.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you were the right person for the
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
What are your primary responsibilities? I know you listed a few, but if you could sum up like the major responsibilities that you have to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, just making sure that the department is running well, that we're keeping the students happy and they're learning, and it's a good environment. Just day-to-day things that happen, and problem solve a lot of times. Finding people to teach, adjuncts and things like that. So it varies from day to day, So some days there's a lot of administrative things to do, and some days there's less, So it just depends.
What are some of your biggest challenges as a chair of a department?
Well, lately it has been keeping enough people to teach our classes. We had a cut within the department, and then we had somebody leave to go to another department here within the college. So we had 2 spots. We lost 2 professors recently. We hired somebody this summer, and then they decided on another job. So it was just a few weeks before classes started that I was responsible for trying to figure out who was going to teach those 4 classes.
Oh, wow.
So so that took a bit of doing and knowing people that can, teach the particular subjects and reaching out to them. But that was a challenge.
I would say,
yeah. So because we have a lot of students, we have a lot of classes, so we need a lot of professors.
No, I think being a communication major, I think we're one of the biggest on campus.
Yeah, we're pretty big. Yeah, we have about 75 majors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and we have about the same amount of minors too.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I had no idea that someone backed out. You guys did it seamlessly. We had no idea. So
Well, that's good.
We had no idea.
We didn't want the students to know that we were like, oh my God, we need a professor. Classes are starting in a week. Yeah. So that was a challenge.
I would say, but you flawless. You had no idea. So
Okay.
hats off to you.
All right. Well, thank you.
What do you find the most rewarding?
Well, it's always students. I enjoy the people I work with. I enjoy, we are just a really good team and we work well together. So I like the people and the teamwork. So managing projects that we all do together, I like. But my favorite thing is students and helping them out. And I don't know if that really falls into the chair role, but in a way it does.
It does, You're with them one-on-one more than just in a class.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So just like advising and things like that, I really enjoy. I enjoy helping students think about their future, and what they want to do. And I enjoy teaching freshmen, so I've done that for as a matter of fact, you were one of my freshman students. So
happy to be one of your freshmen.
I've known you for 4 years. So. But yeah, just doing things to make sure that the students have a good experience.
And you do a wonderful job of making sure we have
thank you.
My experience is so much better because of you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Is there a lot of behind the scenes that students don't see? Apparently there is.
There is. You have to manage money, think about, you guys just go to the website and there's a list of classes, but I have to think about that, like what classes do we need to offer, make sure that we don't have classes conflicting time-wise, so students can take several classes and not have a time conflict. It's kind of like putting a puzzle together. So, you open up the web page and you see the schedule, but there's a lot behind figuring that out. Yeah,
I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Very meticulous.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to add about being the chair, rewarding challenges overall, who you are? Did it make you a different person after you became the chair?
Well, the part I enjoy the most is actually working with others. When you're a professor and not the chair, you're kind of responsible for yourself and getting your job done. And the provost is kind of like your boss, but you kind of self-manage. What I enjoy is working with the other faculty within the department. Yeah,
I
yeah.
would.
We got a great group of people,
yes.
And of course that's something the chair we don't pick just alone. We don't pick who's going to be working within our department. We do that as a committee, but getting that all taken care of is just another chair duty. Yeah. So.
Well, I really appreciate your time talking to me and showing students how it is to be the chair of a department. thank you so much for your time, and I hope that people can learn from you, and maybe one day one of your students will be the chair of the department here in one of the departments.
Okay.
I'm Kyleigh Kozel, and thank you so much for watching. Hats off to Lori Smith.
Thank you, Kyleigh. And with our final segment, WCMO NewsCenter 15's Andrew Sushynski sits down with the award-winning film and TV writer, cartoonist, author, and musician Dave Shelton. In addition to talking about Dave's past projects, career highlights, they dive into his exciting current endeavors, including his syndicated FM radio show, Cemetery Go-Go, which runs on WCMO FM 97.5 Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. We're also going to get a special musical performance from Dave himself. And now, here's Andrew Sushynski and Dave Shelton.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Andrew Sushynski with WCMO Media. Today, I am joined by an award-winning film and TV writer, author, illustrator, and cartoonist, Dave Shelton. Dave, thank you for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good. Award-winning? I didn't hear anything about that. You shut up.
Who you got with you today?
This is Groovy, the Groovy Grave Creeper. He is the star of Cemetery Go-Go, which is my FM syndicated radio show that airs right here on WCMO, among other stations.
All right. Now, my introduction kind of leads us into my first question for you today. You're such an accomplished writer in both film and television. You are an author and illustrator. What kind of led you down this path? Why did you choose to go down the media role? And was there anything that's been a driving factor for your career?
Pretty much necessity. I've always wanted to do this ever since I was little. And what drives me is survival. You know, you need to get paid for things. You have to try to make a living at it. And it's not always easy. It's been a long road. I think a lot of my success has been part determination, part luck, part divine intervention, just opening doors when others close, and perseverance. Because, and I know your audience, because you guys are all cool college students. I know college, man. I went to the University of Florida, and that was cool. But if I had known about the Marietta College when I was growing up, I would have applied here, I think, because it's such a cool school.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just it's something I've always wanted to do. And at University of Florida, I studied film, communications, journalism, like you're doing. And all my professors always said that you need to kind of know more than one thing because you're going to be out of work a lot unless you want to just be a longshoreman or work at medial jobs or just other things. So I worked and developed, and I found I had a talent for different things, but I just worked at it, and it's a love too. Your career has to be something you love, or you're not going to enjoy it. Then you're going to fail at it. It's not going to be good. So, and I've had tons of rejections over the years, but I also have the attitude where I grew up in New Jersey, and we don't care. Our favorite expression is "forget about it," and then you move on. So that was my driving factor. Plus my love of everything, movies and TV and music. And I grew up in an era when metal started, and I wanted to. When I was getting into the music end, I started with saxophone in elementary school, then clarinet. I stopped the saxophone because I was little and the strap was really bothering me when you're out in the field. So I switched to clarinet and then drums for a little while, but then I discovered groups like Led Zeppelin and people like that and other metal groups and the Yardbirds. And then I switched to electric guitar and I haven't looked back.
There you go. You've worked with major companies like Nickelodeon, Disney, and even the National Lampoon, and you've contributed on some very large shows like Everybody Loves Raymond. What's been your favorite project to be a part of, and why was it so special to you?
You better say Cemetery Go-Go. That is one of my favorites, but I've loved almost all of them that I've worked on. You know, there's always ups and downs and everything, but I love Raymond because it allowed me to work with people that I admired growing up. And Hollywood's such a weird, fickle place. It's either feast or famine, and there's good people and there's bad people. So it's just kind of like the same in anything. So I've had favorite parts of different things, not just particular one project. Ideally, I would have to say National Lampoon as far as the company, because when I was in college, I saw Animal House for the first time, and it became one of my favorite movies, and I pledged to fraternity, Phi Kappa Tau. And when I saw that movie, I said, and I read the magazine, so I said, someday my sense of humor, like, so is tailored for that company. Weird, alternative, politically incorrect, you don't care like who you insult.
Yeah.
So, but that's what comedy is. So when I got the chance to work with them in 1991, when I moved from New Jersey and New York back to LA, and I got the opportunity, I said, that was a dream job come true. And I was with them for like almost 9 years.
Wow.
Worked on so many different projects with them. That's where I met and worked with Jamie Kennedy, the actor, who was in Scream, as you might know, and lots of other movies.
I am familiar with that.
Yeah, and he's such a cool guy. Weird, but cool. And so we like connected, and we had like the same kind of sense of humor, and it really, really worked out together.
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorite things to work on. Raymond Gray, as I said, I got to work with an amazing cast. They were very cool. And Nickelodeon was great. I worked on Double Dare. And then I worked with Klasky Supo as a cartoonist. They did Rugrats.
Okay, yes.
So I got to work with some of those guys. And then, got so many of them. I can't even like put them all together. There's been just so many. But as I said, a lot of it has also been through necessity. You get a writing job, and then the writing job ends, and what are you going to do? You know, actor friends that go on unemployment. So I decided I'm really good at voices. So I started doing different voices, and then friends would hire me to do like ADR and looping, which is like audio replacement. And I would always get called in because I sound weird and sort of like surfery. So sometimes a movie would be shot in Bulgaria or Romania, and then for an American audience, they have to kind of do the voices. So a good friend of mine, Stephen First, who I directed in a sitcom, he was in Animal House, coincidentally.
Yeah.
And we got to be really great friends. He was Flounder. You know, fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. And so we started working together, and he became a director. I directed him a sitcom, coincidentally enough, with Jeanette McCurdy before she got iCarly. So that was another road to Nickelodeon tie-in. And so I had to do a lot of Beach Boys. One of the movies was Anaconda versus, Lake Placid versus Anaconda. So I had to do all these beach voices. And then I got called in to do a TV show called Cosmos. It was kind of like a sitcom with the cantina from Star Wars, like if that became a cantina. And Drake Bell, do you know who he is?
I know who Drake Bell is, yes. Very
he started
familiar.
it as the Earthling bartender.
Oh, really?
Dealing with all the aliens. Sadly, it didn't get picked up, but it was a really fun show. And so I did all these alien voices, like, you know, things like that. And that was like really fun. So that was the voice part. And then music-wise, I've always loved writing my own, and I always tended to lean more towards the Halloween music, and the goth and metal and rock, AC/DC kind of things. So when I started writing, it was leaning more towards that. And I have a group now that performs once in a while called the Weird Characters, and we just did Fright Farm for like the 3rd year in a row up in Pennsylvania. And we play all my original weird, and then we play Halloween songs like Goo Goo Muck and Time Warp, you know, like from Rocky Horror Picture Show, and Werewolves of London, any Monster Mash, all these weird kind of cool Halloween songs. So that's what keeps me going. And currently I'm writing a script. I'm having to deal with like 5 different people giving me notes. We discussed that earlier.
Yes.
And I said that for a writer, that could kill a project. So, and you know, for all the people out there who are wanting to be screenwriters or TV writers, when you get too many notes, it convolutes the entire project. So I'm working on that now, hopefully finishing that up. And also, I leave for LA next month. I'm going to be a puppeteer.
Yep.
Yeah, right on. For a puppet movie. It's a Bible story told with puppets and AI. And I'm looking forward to doing that.
Okay, that sounds exciting. Your latest project, an FM radio show called Cemetery Go-Go, not something you've usually done before?
Well, I've been in radio for years, but this is my personal one. So I'll tell you, that's not. He was going to get around to it. You're right. Okay.
Anyways, how did you start, or how did you come up with the idea for Cemetery Go-Go? And then also, for the audience members who might not know about it, what can you tell us about Cemetery Go-Go?
Well, Cemetery Go-Go started I moved from LA to West Virginia, and I've been there 5 years now for a writing assignment. And I fell in love with this area so much, I decided to stay when the writing gig was over. So one of the people I interviewed ran a radio station in Tyler County, West Virginia. And he knew that I was on NBC radio that had a history in radio and national radio. So he asked if I wanted to do a show. And I said, I've always wanted to do a horror radio show, but comedy, like music and weird commercials and things like that. So I just sat down and I wrote a theme song, and just Cemetery Go-Go came up because I love cemeteries. Mm-hmm. And it kind of fit, and it was very retro sounding. So I wrote the first episode. We went into the studios and recorded it, and it just sort of created a life of its own. And I came up with the character Groovy Grave Creeper, and I drew him because as a cartoonist, I wanted to make it myself instead of like getting someone else to do it. So that's basically where it came from, and just developed, and now we have 66 episodes. Plus a Halloween episode, which airs on stations all over the country. And I went out and got them myself. My agent didn't do it.
Oh, really?
I just, that's how I got WCMO, because it airs here, and I love it on this station. Mm-hmm. And what's cool is, it runs 7 o'clock Tuesdays and Thursdays here.
Yes, that is correct.
But originally, when it first got picked up, it was late night.
Oh, really?
So, but your director, Marilee, thought it was, really great to maybe be at that time, which is, right after classes, and something people could listen to and just, have fun and get all weird with. And so when I started calling around, I called here, and people just seemed to respond to it. I said, oh, do you have an open space? But because it's a non-commercial show, mm-hmm. and pre-recorded, it's an hour show, it fit more with the public format.
Yeah.
And with college radio. And I got my start in college radio, so down at University of Florida, and I thought, okay, I love it, mm-hmm. because you do what you want as long as you don't, weird out the censors and,
yes.
and get pulled off the air and lose your license. But and he keeps it clean, so I make sure he doesn't use any words. I use the F word. No, you don't. Fun. Okay. So that's where that all started, and I've just fallen in love with it. And we're, this Groovy was first created by a fan who became a friend, and she has a podcast out of New York, and she's a nationally recognized ventriloquist, okay. And she makes her own puppets. So I asked her if she'd like to make Groovy, and so this is Groovy.
There he is.
Ooh, so exciting.
So I've also heard that you've got a couple of songs for us today. So if you want to take a moment, go get ready for that, and then I appreciate your time, and we'll get ready for that.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Hey, what do I don't need? Don't I get a thank you?
I appreciate your time, Groovy. And
I'm not doing, you're not doing with the hand of his head.
I'm not complaining about that. So to put us in the Halloween spirit, Dave has a couple of songs to play for us. Up first is going to be Frightmare, followed by Goo Goo Muck. So Dave, take it away.
This one is something I wrote for a film, and it's called Frightmare in My Head. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. I come from the darkness, born from death itself. I'm the shadow in your bed frame. I'm the creaking of the door. No one ever stopped me, though they all tried. Don't think you can deny me. You know you'd really rather die. I'm the frightmare living in your head. I'm the frightmare living in your head. I'm worse than Freddy. Chucky quivers with fright. Michael runs away and cowers. Jason wouldn't even fight. Frankenstein, little monster, would rather go up in flames. And the Count turns away at the mere mention of my name. I'm the frightmare living in your head. I'm the frightmare living in your head. No one can destroy me. There are no drugs you can take. Psycho doctor just annoy me. You can't asylum me away. You might think that it's a bad thing. A real bummer, I know. But sit back and up the dosage, and you'll enjoy the show. I'm the frightmare living in your head. I'm the frightmare living in your head. I'm the frightmare living in your head. Thank you. Okay, now the next one is something that I've been doing long before Wednesday came out, and it's by the Cramps. It's one of my favorites, and it's Goo Goo Muck. Here we go. When the sun goes down and the moon comes up, I turn into a teenage Goo Goo Muck. Well, I cruise the city and I roam the street, looking for something that is good to eat. Yeah. You better duck when I show up. Goo Goo Muck. Well, I'm a mindhead hunter looking for some head, yeah. And a far out body underneath that head. Well, I'll get you, baby, with a little luck. 'Cause I'm a teenage tiger and a Goo Goo Muck. You better duck when I show up. Goo Goo Muck. This is my version of a solo. You better duck when I show up. Goo Goo Muck. Well, the city's a jungle and I'm a beast. Oh, I'm a teenage tiger looking for a feast. Well, I want the most, but I'll take the least. Aw. 'Cause I'm a Goo Goo Muck tiger and a teenage beast. So you better duck when I show up. Goo Goo Muck. Goo Goo Muck. Goo Goo Muck. Thurman. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dave Shelton. I love the music. Sounded
Thank you.
great.
Being all weird.
And Frightmere. All right. Once again, you have that FM radio show.
Cemetery Go-Go on WCMO FM.
At Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. And Dave,
Yes.
just one last question for you before we go. People want to learn more about you. Where should they head?
Oh, the street corners, Walmart, things like that. No, but my website is snuggiebear.com, SNUGGYBEAR.com. And they could see all the stuff I'm working on, my Bitchy the Clown stuff, some of the other projects I've worked on before, and some of the other new cartoons. And there's also a link to Cemetery Go-Go there.
Sounds great. All right, go check out snuggiebear.com to learn more about Dave Shelton.
Thanks, Andrew. And thank you for joining us for the special interview edition of WCMO News Center 15. I'm Abby Scott. I hope you have a great day.